testing disaster recovery plans. Welcome to this lesson on testing disaster recovery plans, DRP. Having a disaster recovery plan, DRP, is essential, but if it's never tested, organizations can't be sure it will work when disaster strikes. Regular testing ensures that recovery procedures are effective, employees know their roles, and systems can be restored quickly. In this lesson, we will explore different types of DR tests, communication strategies, and best practices for improving disaster preparedness. Let's get started. Testing a disaster recovery plan ensures that organizations can recover from disruptions, verify backup integrity, and identify weaknesses before an actual disaster occurs. Think of DRP testing like a fire drill. Fire drills help people practice how to evacuate safely, so in a real emergency, they know exactly what to do. Similarly, DRP tests allow security teams to practice recovering systems and ensuring that recovery processes function as expected. For example, an organization may run a simulated ransomware attack to test whether their backup and restoration processes can fully recover encrypted files. Conduct DRP tests regularly to validate recovery procedures. Document lessons learned and update the DRP based on test results. Ensure employees understand their roles in disaster recovery. There are several methods for testing a disaster recovery plan, each designed to assess different aspects of recovery preparedness. First, read-through tabletop exercises involve reviewing DR plans with key personnel to identify gaps and ensure everyone understands their roles. Second, walkthrough tests require teams to simulate a disaster scenario and talk through the recovery steps without making actual changes to systems. Third, simulation tests involve running a controlled disaster scenario to evaluate the effectiveness of recovery processes without impacting live systems. Fourth, parallel tests restore backup systems in a separate environment to verify that data can be recovered without affecting production systems. Fifth, full interruption tests involve shutting down production systems and attempting a full-scale recovery to confirm that the DRP works under real conditions. For example, an organization may conduct a parallel test to ensure their cloud-based backup system can restore data quickly without disrupting live services. Use tabletop exercises for policy and procedural validation. Conduct parallel tests to verify that backups are recoverable. Limit full interruption tests to off-peak hours to minimize business disruption. Read-through and tabletop exercises are low-impact methods for testing DR plans by reviewing procedures with key stakeholders. First, organizations distribute copies of the DRP to employees and request feedback on clarity, completeness, and potential gaps. Second, tabletop exercises simulate disaster scenarios where teams discuss how they would respond to an incident based on DR procedures. Third, organizations document findings from these exercises and update DR plans accordingly. For example, during a tabletop exercise, IT teams may identify that their cloud backup provider's recovery time does not meet business continuity objectives, leading to necessary changes in DR planning. Involve all key personnel in tabletop exercises. Use realistic disaster scenarios to improve preparedness. Document and implement improvements based on feedback. Walkthrough tests take tabletop exercises a step further by having teams simulate disaster recovery procedures. First, IT teams follow DRP steps to simulate a disaster scenario, such as a server outage or cyber attack. Second, teams verify whether each recovery step is feasible and achievable within the expected timeframe. Third, organizations identify procedural weaknesses and make necessary DRP updates. For example, if a company's DR plan states that database servers can be restored within 1 hour, a walkthrough test helps validate whether this time frame is realistic. Conduct walkthrough tests at least once per year. Ensure all IT and security teams participate in recovery simulations. Use testing results to refine recovery timelines and procedures. Parallel and full-scale recovery tests provide the highest level of confidence in an organization's ability to recover from disasters. First, parallel testing restores backup systems in a test environment to confirm that critical data and applications can be recovered successfully. Second, full-scale interruption testing shuts down production systems entirely and attempts a complete disaster recovery to validate the organization's ability to restore operations. Third, organizations measure recovery times and document any unexpected issues that arise during the test. For example, a healthcare provider may conduct a parallel test of its patient record backup system to ensure that medical data can be quickly restored in case of a system failure. Use parallel tests to verify backup and recovery processes. Limit full-scale tests to off-hours or controlled environments. Measure recovery time objectives, RTO, and adjust DR plans accordingly. Effective communication is critical when testing disaster recovery plans to ensure that employees and stakeholders understand their roles. First, predefined communication plans outline how teams will coordinate during a disaster scenario. Second, test updates keep employees informed of testing progress and expectations. Third, organizations document test outcomes and communicate findings to leadership for review. For example, a company conducting a DR test for a ransomware attack may notify employees that simulated disruptions will occur, ensuring they know how to respond without confusion. Use clear communication plans to coordinate DR tests. Inform employees and leadership about scheduled DR tests. Document test results and share findings for continuous improvement. After every DR test, organizations must analyze the results and identify areas for improvement. First, post-test reviews assess how effectively recovery steps were executed. Second, lessons learned help organizations refine recovery objectives and optimize DR strategies. Third, updates to DR documentation ensure that future tests and real-world recovery efforts are more efficient. For example, after a parallel DR test, an organization may realize that its backup restoration process takes twice as long as expected, prompting them to invest in faster recovery solutions. Perform post-test reviews to assess DR effectiveness. Document lessons learned and update recovery procedures. Continuously improve DR strategies based on test results. Now let's summarize what we've learned about testing disaster recovery plans, DRP. DRP testing ensures that recovery procedures work effectively before an actual disaster occurs. Read-through and tabletop exercises help teams review DRP policies and identify gaps. Walk-through tests simulate recovery steps to validate procedural effectiveness. Parallel and full-scale recovery tests confirm whether critical systems can be restored. Clear communication during testing ensures employees understand their roles. Post-test evaluations help organizations continuously improve DR strategies. By regularly testing and refining DR plans, organizations can minimize downtime, reduce recovery times, and maintain business continuity. This concludes our module on testing disaster recovery plans. Up next, participating in business continuity, BC planning and exercises. Stay secure.